Welcome back, Detectives in Training. Grab your magnifying glasses and open up those notepads because today's explainer is all about mastering one of the absolute most critical skills in reading comprehension, drawing conclusions. You know, whenever we read a story, an article, or even just a quick text message from a friend, the author doesn't always spell out every single detail for us. Sometimes they just leave a trail of breadcrumbs, and it's entirely up to us to follow them. So today, we are going to learn exactly how to do just that. Consider this your official training dossier for the day. Here's our agenda. First up, the detective's toolkit. Second, how to spot clues. Third, solving quick riddles. Fourth, the sandcastle case. And finally, case closed. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the detective's toolkit, equipping you with the core definitions. Okay, let's dive into this. Every detective needs their gear, right? Well, we basically have two primary tools here. First is drawing conclusions. Now, this is just the act of figuring something out based on clues in a text. It's that aha moment when all the pieces finally come together like a giant puzzle. And what exactly are those pieces? Well, they're clues. A clue is simply a hint or a specific piece of information that helps you discover something. The author hides the clues and you draw the conclusions. It's really this awesome partnership between the writer and the reader. Moving right along to section 2, how to spot clues. We'll be looking at the 5 crucial questions. So here is a totally foolproof 5-step checklist you can use every single time you read. Step 1, ask yourself, what do you already know about the topic? I mean, your brain is a vast database of background knowledge, so use it. Step 2, look at the title. It's literally the very first hint the author ever gives you. Step 3, look at the pictures. Visuals carry an incredible amount of unwritten data. Step 4, look for clues in the text itself. You know, specific words or phrases that kind of jump out at you. And finally, step 5, ask yourself what seems important. Because if an author spends 3 whole sentences describing some seemingly random object, well, guess what? It's probably a major clue. Okay, section 3, solving quick riddles. Think of this as target practice for your brain. All right, here is your first mini case file. I'm going to read 4 clues, and I want you to synthesize them and figure out what I am. Ready? Clue number 1, I am white and red. Clue number 2, people like to play with me. Clue number 3, I can be caught or thrown. And the final, absolute most specific clue, you're out. So, do you have a guess? What object fits all 4 of these distinct text clues? Way to detect? I'm a baseball. Now, notice how the clues went from super broad, just colors like white and red, down to something incredibly specific, like the phrase, you're out. That is classic clue building. If you got that right, definitely give yourself a pat on the back. But hey, don't get too comfortable just yet, because the next one is a little bit trickier. Riddle number 2. Listen really closely to the language here. Clue 1. I am always running, but never move. Clue 2. I help you tell time all day. Clue 3. I have a face and hands, but no body. And clue 4. I make a steady ticking sound. Now, this one requires you to combine the hints and think about words that have multiple meanings, like faces, hands, and running. What do you think it is? That's right, I'm a clock. And this brilliantly illustrates how combining distinct, sometimes metaphorical text hints creates an incredibly obvious conclusion once you piece them together. A clock runs, it has a face, and it has hands. The author used clever wording as clues, and you successfully decoded the whole shebang. Excellent work. Which brings us to section 4, the sandcastle case, where we start applying your skills to a full story. I'm going to read this case file aloud, and I really want you to pay close attention to the details here. The tide was rising, and John's sandcastle was about to be reached by the salty water. He noticed his bucket was now floating, and the crabs were sprinting toward the tall grass for safety. Instead of being sad, John laughed and grabbed his shoes, knowing it was time for his family to move their blankets back. Okay, detectives, the scene is fully set. Let's start the interrogation. Question 1 of our investigation. Based purely on the text, what specifically shows us that the water level changed? We know it changed, right? But what is the exact visual clue the author provides? Let's look at our options. Is it A, John's shoes, B, the tall grass, or C, the floating bucket? Well, think back to the text. John grabbed his shoes, sure, and the crabs ran to the tall grass, but neither of those things explicitly indicate the physical rise of water. So the crucial point is, the bucket, it went from sitting on the sand to floating. Option C is our absolute, indisputable clue that the water level has risen. Moving right along to question 2, let's analyze some behavior. Why did the crabs move to the grass? Now, the text says they were sprinting toward the tall grass for safety, but it doesn't actually tell us what makes the grass safe. This is exactly where we have to draw a conclusion. Are they moving A, to find food, B, to reach higher ground, or C, to find seashells? Now, this is where we use step 1 from our methodology checklist. What do you already know? You know that beaches slope upward away from the water. So if the water is rising rapidly, moving away from it toward the tall grass means moving up. Therefore, we can confidently conclude they are choosing option B. They're moving to reach higher ground to escape the surging water. And now, for the final, overarching question of the entire case. What is the big picture here? What is actually happening in this story? Let's review the evidence we've gathered. We've got a floating bucket, crabs fleeing to higher ground, salty water reaching a sandcastle, and a family calmly moving their blankets back without any panic at all. So is it A, the tide is coming in, B, a rainstorm, or C, a passing boat? Well, a rainstorm would probably cause panic, and it wouldn't just be salty water creeping up. A passing boat might make a single wave, but it wouldn't require moving blankets back permanently. All the clues seamlessly paint a crystal clear picture of option A, the tide is coming in. Look at that perfect score. Floating bucket, reaching higher ground, the tide coming in. You absolutely nailed it. You took the specific clues directly from the text, you combined them with the background knowledge you already possessed about beaches and oceans, and you painted a complete, totally accurate picture of the scene. You have officially passed your detective training with flying colors. And that brings us to section 5. Case closed. Your training is complete. As we wrap up this explainer, I just want you to remember that being a great reader is all about being an active participant. It's about combining those hidden text clues with what you already know to be true. So now that you're armed with this toolkit, what hidden clues are you missing in your everyday reading? Seriously, the next time you open a book, read an article, or even just skim an email, put your detective hat on. I guarantee you'll start seeing a whole new world of meaning hiding right there between the lines. Keep investigating, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.